We'll have attendance shortly.
Okay,
I'll give a brief intro and then hand over to you.
good. Okay.
Okay. Yes, students, attendees. Let's give 10 more seconds and we'll start.
Sure.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Bhanu. I'm the host for this session. We have with us Piyush Makija. He's a lead ML scientist from Vahan. And today he's going to talk about normalizing user-generated text data, uh, primarily around the topics of NLP. Briefly about Piyush, he's a he has a master's in computer science from Georgia Institute of Technology with a focus on ML, and is currently working on core NLP and ML problems at Vahan, where they have built a chatbot. I'll let him to continue on these specifics. Uh, I'll hand it over to you, Piyush. Good luck.
Thanks for the introduction, Bhanu. Hey, everyone. My name is again Piyush Makhija. I am a lead ML scientist at Vahan AI. Vahan AI is a Y Combinator startup where we are enabling jobs for the next billion internet users, which is basically job discovery and job fulfillment. And the way we are doing this is via a conversational chatbot over WhatsApp. So that's a brief introduction about myself. And today's talk is going to be on normalizing user generated text data. So, breaking this down, we are focusing on free text input from the user and how NLP applications that deal with this kind of data are going to be suboptimal if they do not understand the nuances of this particular type of data. And once you understand the nuances, we are proposing text normalization as a solution to building an efficient NLP pipeline on free text user input. Right. So that is what you're going to get out of this talk. That how do we handle free text user inputs for your NLP applications? All right. Jumping right into it. Right. So let's jump into the understanding of user generated text data. So primarily we are going to focus on data that is being generated on internet platforms like Twitter, Facebook, WhatsApp, or say customer service bots that are there on some bank websites, on some internet application website, right? Uh, so to give you an idea, if you see this tweet by Amitabh Bachchan, he's using Hindi and English words together in a single tweet in Romanized script, right? The second example is basically of a WhatsApp conversation I was having with a job seeker this week, right? So over here also, if you see my statements, his statements, both of them contain Hindi and English words. And if you see the third example, it's basically taken from HDFC Bank's website where they have a bot to deal with user queries, right? If you see, like they have some options, they are trying to identify my intent and everything, even when I have misspelled data. So, for the purpose of this talk, when I say user generated text data, I'm going to focus only on next billion user internet users, which could be from India, China, Southeast Asia, or Brazil. But I'll be limiting myself to Hindi and English speaking users for the purpose of this talk, right? So, with every or any machine learning application or anything that you're trying to build in this domain, your model is only as good as your data. So, let's understand what are the nuances of user generated text data. The problem, first of all, for building any application is that you need a comprehensive data set that understands all the nuances or difficulties with the data. And the difficulties with this data, first and foremost, is that the way users in India speak is that they mix multiple languages that they know. So if I know Hindi and English, I comfortably mix my words in a way that sometimes there are in the same sentence words from Hindi and English language. Something like मुझे कल डॉक्टर के पास जाना है, और I gave interview yesterday, अब कल result पता चलेगा. So this is very convenient for us, and this is how the next billion internet users converse. Another nuance of this particular mixed language is that my mixing or my vocabulary of Hindi and English and the way that I mix it is going to be different from from a user such as yourself. So my English is going to be different from your English, which brings us to the second issue with this data: high variability. There is no standard way or there is no set of rules governing this informal mix of languages. There is no punctuation, there is no any again no rules surrounding this sort of thing. And to give you an example, a simple word such as yes can be spelled out like 50 different ways on a text platform by you and me, and we can understand the same. Like I can spell it out as yes, yess, or I could just type out yup, yeah, or I could flip the script or go to Hindi language and pick up words that correspond to yes. Something like ha or ha. I can go to Kannada and use the word how do. And frequently it's seen on internet platforms that user type out things phonetically. So word like yes, when spoken with a person with say a South Indian accent, is going to sound like S with a heavy intonation on the S part of it. And we have observed that users do type the words out, how they sound, so phonetically, right? So there is very high variability surrounding this type of data. Next, there is poor data availability. So there is no proper data set that is available because this is considerably a new and dynamic phenomenon. Why is it dynamic? Because there are regional and cultural influences. A person from North India might use his version of Hindi and English differently as compared to West India, East India, or South India. Right? So these are the difficulties surrounding the data. And why do we care about this data? Why do we care about the difficulties in this data? Because it affects how our NLP tasks perform. So say if we have to do intent recognition, identify what the user is trying to say, like we saw in the customer service bot for SDFC Bank example. They had to understand, is the user asking about bank account opening or credit card statement? On Twitter, we want to do sentiment analysis, say regarding COVID vaccine. Is the sentiment positive or negative? We want to do NER or entity recognition. If I misspell the word bike, BYKE, as BYK, will my system be able to handle that? Similarly, there is topic modeling for news and other NLP tasks that we would like to deal with, right? So we need to understand the nuances because it affects the NLP tasks over here. So how do we deal with this data? Once we have understood the nuances, we have come to a conclusion that text normalization is an effective way to deal with this data. So first, let's understand what text normalization means. So here is a pretty decent example for text normalization. If you look at the statement on the top right, left right basically, sorry, top left, we have the statement, hi, I have a bike, in which the word hi or the token hi is misspelled as HII, while it should have been HI. So this is an example of noise in the text input. And this is again an English statement. If we look at the top right statement, mere paas bike hai, in which the token HII should ideally have been specified as HAI, is basically it's a misspelling. And for those of you who are not comfortable with Hindi, mere paas bike hai is basically a Hindi sentence in Romanized script to say that I have a bike. Right? Over here, we see that there is code mixing involved in this particular statement. Next thing that we notice in these two examples is that the same token, HII, is getting normalized in different way depending on the context of the statement. So this is the third nuance that text normalization needs to handle. And if we are able to handle these kind of nuances in the data, we can build an effective NLP pipeline. So further into the slides, we'll be seeing how we did this. Bhanu, I'll just stop now. Do we have any raised hands? All right.
No, but we do have a question.
All right. So I'll continue. All right. So now we are going to deal with a case study. Basically, how we handle these things at Vahan. So we know that, okay, we have nuances in the data, it affects our NLP pipeline, and we need a text normalization system. So we at Vahan basically worked around this and built a chatbot over WhatsApp that helps businesses hire gray or blue collar workers at scale. So primarily our immediate focus is on jobs, but we can also handle assessments, we can also handle English learning or some upskilling tools, we can provide credit insurance. So all of this can be handled on a chat. And the way we do this at Vahan is that we have a universal access via one phone number. That is, the job seeker texts say hi or starts a conversation with us. He goes to our platform, sends hi, we send a reply, and he basically initiates an automated conversation where we create his profile, basically ask some basic questions about them. What is your name? What is your area, age, language, etc. Then once the user has created a profile, we recommend relevant jobs. We assess them or qualify them for that particular job. Say, if you are going for a telecaller job, you need to have certain amount of English proficiency, or you are going for a driver job, you need a driving license. So that is a qualification criteria. We schedule the interviews, and effectively within 24 hours, we help them find or walk into that particular job center. So that is how our particular solution is built around WhatsApp. Now, the major component that we have to deal with here is conversations, and more importantly, text conversations. And this is where we started to handle nuances in user-generated free text input. Right? So user does not have to adhere to a name. He can simply say that, okay, what is your name? Madhav. Or my name is Madhav. Mera naam Madhav hai. So there are multiple variations in which the user can provide same input. So when we started out on this, we had a cold start problem. That means for building any NLP application, we did not have sufficient amount of labeled data. So to deal with this cold start problem of building our chatbot, we had to deploy data collection chatbots. So we did this over Facebook Messenger, and we started with jokes and daily quotes bot. We did this because these are the kind of interactions that get more traction from the user. Over here, like getting replies is easy, right? But we started to receive a lot of spam on these bots. Data, like basically conversations were not useful. So we had to scrap that option and move to a translation bot, which is basically an English translation bot. We use some Google APIs and provided translations to people, which was in itself an effective or useful bot. But the problem over here is that the usage was sporadic, which means that user only came to us when they needed it. So we could not rely on it as a consistent source to collect data. Next, we built an English learning bot that will help users learn English while collecting data. Problem with this particular bot is that it was a scripted conversation, and hence the content that we are getting was very narrow in its domain. So we could not think about building a comprehensive data set out of the conversations over here. And finally, we moved to a friend finder bot where we struck gold. That is, this was the solution that worked for us. So the inspiration for this came from Chat Roulette, which is a service where we basically have two anonymous users connect over chat and let them converse. We take their permissions to collect that chat data and use that chat data as our raw source of data. So with this particular approach, we were able to collect 2 million messages per month. So once we had a decent amount of data source or a regular data source generation, we had dealt with the cold start problem. Once we collected this data, we got this annotated for text normalization. That is something we'll deal with, like input corresponding to the correct expected output. And so this was a good source of data for us. And once, so this particular data collection exercise we had done in 2018. Since then, we have been focused on text normalization, and one of the issues that we saw with text normalization was a availability of a comprehensive data set. So this year, we released a English norm data set uh, as a part of industry track of Calling 2020. And this is our paper available on ACL Web. So what this particular data set provides is approximately 13,500 human annotated text normalization input data. That means there are corresponding segments, text segments of noisy input, noisy text input, and corresponding clean and clear annotated normalized output, what the text normalization system is supposed to handle. So with this data, the text normalization approach that we are going to deal with, you can directly apply a model on this data and build a working solution, something that we struggled for a time to build. So I hope this particular data set solves the insubstantial research part of it, or non-availability of data set issues. To give you an idea of what this data set looks like, we have 4 fields per data point. And so the first ID field is just to come out with the ID number, or basically what is the data point number. We have an input text, which is the noisy code mixed input that we had. Tags basically corresponds to the type of error or type of transformation that we want to apply on that particular token. Like each corresponding input token will have a tag to it. And finally, normalized text is the clean output that can be provided to the downstream NLP tasks. If you look at example 2 over here, just for a moment, all 4 of the tokens that are there in input text are misspelled in some way or the other. And a human has annotated them, like HIII should have been HI. This is a case of wordplay or alliteration. The second word, mujhe, which is a Hindi word, misspelled in a proper transliterated form. So we have corrected that. Job is misspelled with A, the letter A instead of O. And chahiye we have converted into a standard normalized transliterated form. Right? So this is what the data set provides. And with this data set, basically you can apply a text normalization system directly to it, and it deals with the problem of like it cleans your text input for the downstream NLP tasks. So going forward, understanding the data in this particular data set, we did some analysis on it, and we have certain amount of data sets. We provide a training and texting split, right? So the number of sentences that got modified after annotation is 80%. That is 80% of the corpus had some amount of noise or code mixing within them, right? And then we computed how many of these sentences had Hindi and English component appearing in both of them. So we found that somewhere around 52% of the sentences were like that. And we also checked on a word level, how many words got changed or normalized in the corpus, which is around 54%. So that means those 54% of the words are present in 80% of the sentences. Why these statistics are important? This tells us that if 80% of the sentences needed some form of correction, that means if we had directly operated our NLP tasks on the noisy, code mixed, unclean input data, they are more likely to fail. But if we would have cleaned them and standardized the input text in some form, they are more likely to succeed, right? One important statistics over here is the code mixing index, CMI, which was proposed by Das and Gambach back in 2014. This is an index that ranges from 0 to 100. And 0 means basically monolingual data form, or basically monolingual corpus. So when we computed the code mixing index for this particular corpus, we found it to be very close to 100, or exact value to be 88.4. One more interesting thing is that this data set was collected in a non-constrained manner. So we did collect a certain amount of non-English and non-Hindi words, which is about 5.4% in this data set. And if we look at the number of Hindi words in this complete corpus, it's somewhere around 42%. So this is about the complete corpus itself, and these are again provided in the paper that we spoke of recently. Moving further, if we wanted to compare input text with normalized text, basically the input and output of the text normalization system, what we see is that the number of sentences or unique words in input text and normalized text from input text to normalized text have reduced. That means there are more corrections that is happening. And if we look at the most common sentence variation of what is your name in the input text, there are 12 such data points. But if we look at normalized text, there are 38 unique identifications of the most common sentence, which means there are a lot more spelling mistakes happening in the input text, which correspond to the same output statement of what is your name. If we look at the character length, we see that from input text to normalized text, the mean or median character length is increasing. While if you look at the word length, the mean word length increases, but median word length is roughly the same, exactly the same basically. And the final analysis that we did on this dataset is on the tags or the transformations that we applied. So these are basically the 10 transformations that we have applied. And we have some kind of profanity acronyms such as ISRO for Indian Space Research Organization get converted to their full form. Then there are words which are there in short form, such as we type just a letter U to indicate YOU. So that gets corrected, and so on. The first tag that is there, looks good, basically means that there is an English word present in a correct spelling already there. And the last tag, UOL, is basically unrecognized or other language, which is 5.4% of the corpus. So this is the data set that we can use directly, apply a text normalization approach, and deal with our problems of user-generated text input. But this data set has to be utilized within an NLP pipeline. So over here, we are going to give you an example of the NLP pipeline we applied at Vahan to build our own chatbot. Not all of these steps may apply to every particular NLP solution out there, but this is just a use case out of Vahan. So once we have a user text input, we pre-process that particular data, we apply a text normalization model, and then proceed for a downstream NLP task. In our case, it can be intent recognition, sentiment analysis, it can be entity identification, and so on. So just to give you a brief idea of our pre-processing pipeline, once the input text comes to us, we have to prepare this for text normalization. So we clean it a bit. We apply lowercase, strip the white case, we transliterate, which is basically converting Hindi words from Devanagari script to Romanized script. Then we process the URLs, and if you are collecting data, say from Twitter, you might have to deal with hashtags or @ mentions also. So it's up to you, depending on your application, how you want to process them. We filter out alphanumeric content. Basically, we are only concerned with alphabets and numerals and white spaces. So we filter out anything else that is, say, media content, emojis, or we also remove punctuations or non-ASCII characters. So some of these pipeline options may not apply to your use case, like removing punctuations might not be good for a sentiment analysis task. So user discretion is advised. Right? So once we have pre-processed this data, we apply a text normalization. So text normalization, the way we have dealt with it at Vahan is that we have modeled this as a machine translation task. That means the dirty input that we are providing is a non-standard informal language, and we are converting that into a standard version of the same informal code mix language, right? And we have tried out two different type of models. SMT stands for statistical machine translation, and NMT stands for neural machine translation. So by definition, statistical machine translation is a frequency-based solution in which if there are more frequency of a particular kind of error, uh, the model takes greater care into correcting it. But so the advantage over here is that it does not need a large amount of data to build a statistical machine translation method. But on the other hand, statistical machine translation, or SMT, is not able to deal with input variations that have not occurred in your training dataset. So something like if the instance of HIII, or the variation of the word high as HIII, is not present in the training data, it won't be able to correct over here if you see. Right? Versus a neural machine translation, if it has seen instances of HII, it might be able to, depending again on your corpus and training parameters, it might be able to identify that HIII and HII, both of these tokens are very similar to each other, and both of these should have similar corrections. That is, HII maps to HI, so HIII should also map to HI. So a neural machine translation can map words or tokens that are not present in the input vocabulary to the correct output format. So that is an advantage from the neural machine translation point of view. The disadvantage is that it needs a lot of data compared to the statistical machine translation method. So again, pros and cons of both methods depending on what can apply to your use case.
Hey Piyush,
Hey,
we have few questions. Probably you can take them since we have only 3 minutes.
okay.
So the first one is there any good NLP model for Indian languages and Indian mixed languages?
Again, NLP model for what? The NLP models depend on the tasks that you're trying to do it. Right. So the task, if we are trying to do, is say machine translation, or currently that like we are trying to do. So you can use a bidirectional LSTM encoder decoder with attention model. You can use a BERT-based model or a transformer model. There are multiple models available. It's more about the input data that you're using and the annotations that you're providing. I hope that answers that, right?
Not sure. I've requested the questioner to clarify. The
Yeah.
next one is how do you label the data you collected through friend finder bot?
Correct. So the data that we have collected via Friend Finder and our own Vahan's Job Finder bot, we provided them to annotators. And let me just go to that particular slide. Right. So this is how we have labeled it. We provided input text, and the annotators provided tags and normalized text for it. So tags are more for data analysis purpose. This is not required for your text normalization system. What you need is an input to output mapping. And this is what we got human annotators to annotate.
Got it. The next one is how does the model perform, which was trained with informal casual chat, work with more of a formal job search bot?
So the model performance that we have provided over here is with respect to the English norm dataset. Uh, Again, there's a limitation to the amount of data that we have provided here. So word error rate as little as possible is better. So ideal word error rate is 0. That means input and your the normalized text, the ideal output is matching what your model is able to provide. So we are able to achieve a word error rate of 2.72 on the Job Finder bot, which means that 2.72% of the times the output of our model's normalization is different from what is expected by a human annotator. So basically it works 98% of the time, or 97.5.
Got it. Last question. Do you have any good links for NLG, NLU, and grammatical error correction? This question is from Srinivas.
Yeah. So Srinivas, again, this particular domain has a lot of components to it. So you need to first narrow down on what languages you want to work with. There are some good links for, say, English and Spanish correction, for Bengali and English dataset, the English norm corpus that is there in the feed, the GitHub repo, and the paper on the ACL web, particularly deals with Hindi and English, right? So you can use that particular dataset for Hindi and English. And similarly, in this paper only, if you go through our related research, you can find articles for Bengali English or Telugu English, Kannada English that has already been done. I hope that helps.
Sure. Thanks, Piyush. We are right just out of time. I'd like to thank you for your lively session, and thank you all the attendees for attending, and few of those who have raised the questions. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone. I'll be available in the lounge if there are some pending questions or anybody wants to have a discussion.
That would be great.
Right?
Yeah. Well, please do head out to lounge section.
Great.
Thank you
Thanks,
again.
guys. See you guys in the lounge.
Bye.
Bye.